What is up, bros? I'm Caleb.
And I'm Jonathan.
And we are a couple of bros on a mission to give you guys the most detailed movie reviews out there with as little bias as possible. Welcome to the All Bros. This week on the podcast, we have a couple items. I've actually watched movies this week, despite
lucky Caleb go.
It's not as much as I may have promised to watch or may have said I was going to watch. I am still playing Breath of the Wild, and that is occupying a good chunk of my time.
Hey man, I broke the promise that I made last week. I said I was going to watch Jackass 4 and 4.5, and I did not. But next week, I'm not going to say that I'm actually going to, but shooting for that.
Yeah. Well, if you guys know us or are new and you choose to take what we say at face value, that's more on you than it is us. Set your expectations.
He's not wrong.
Yeah, set your expectations of us at a reasonable level, and you'll only be disappointed, I'd say 70% of the time. Outside of that,
that's pretty good. I would have put it higher.
I know. Yeah, but yeah. So anyway, we'll get into weekly watch. Talk about what we've been watching this week, and then we'll get into our breakdown of one of, unfortunately, my more anticipated movies of the year, outside of Deadpool and Wolverine, because that was obviously number one.
Yeah, he was hyping this movie up after the trailer.
I was, dude. The freaking trailers looked sick. But anyway, spoiler warning for how this episode's going to go. So before we go and ruin anything else, let's say we get on into this.
Let's do it.
Hell yeah.
Hey, this is Mikey T.
And Grant.
And Billy.
And we are Failing
Hollywood.
Yeah, you're listening to the All Bros podcast with
Caleb and Jonathan Rose.
Or just Rose.
Is it Rose or Jonathan?
I don't know. Caleb calls him Rose. He introduces himself Jonathan. It's a thing.
But he's as sweet as a rose.
He's a very nice person.
And
the only
as a Jonathan.
Yes.
I love that our reviews are just fine. They're fine. They're mediocre reviews. They're fine. I'm not going to argue, but I just find that I find it funny that someone finally pointed it out.
Yeah. All right. Getting into our first segment this week, Weekly Watch. Rose and I both watched a couple movies this week. Or you watched a couple. I watched one, but anyway. So why don't you tell everyone what you watched this week?
All right. So it took me, God, how old is this movie? Almost 30 years now. But I finally watched Beetlejuice. I don't know why it took me this long for, how much I love these kind of movies. I love Tim Burton. He's a great director. I love his style, but I just never got around to watching Beetlejuice. Finally watched it, with Beetlejuice coming out. I was going to say this Friday, but, this gets released on Monday, so it's already out when you listen to this. But considering how excited, I find it funny that I am so freaking excited for that movie after the trailers, and I've been listening to a lot of the Broadway musical Beetlejuice, and I've seen some clips from that. So that just got me so much into Beetlejuice that I'm like, you know what? I should probably watch the movie, the original movie that started it all. That's probably a good idea. And I finally did, and you know what? I now understand why it has such a following. I didn't love it as much as I'm sure a lot of people do, but I do think it's a good movie. It's very Tim Burton aesthetic, which is a good thing. His style is definitely there. And I want to say this was the first movie that kicked off his type of art style, because this came out in 1988.
Definitely one of the I don't know where I was going with that. Probably it seems like one of the first that started to show that style off.
Yeah. But honestly, the only thing I have wrong with this movie is just it took me a little bit to get into the story. But once I did, like once we enter the afterlife, I feel this movie just takes off, and it's a great time for the rest of the movie. Michael Keaton, shocker, is like amazing as Beetlejuice. It's unfortunate that he's only on screen, I think, for like 17 minutes. But for story wise, I understand. It makes sense. Winona Ryder is fantastic, especially for how young she was here. It's like it's so crazy seeing her in like one of her first acting roles and comparing to where she is now. It's awesome, but it's crazy. Freaking oh my god, who played Mrs. Kevin McAllister's mom?
Catherine O'Hara.
Thank you. Why did I forget her name for a minute? What is wrong with me? Catherine O'Hara. She is fantastic in this. I did not know that Alec Baldwin was in this movie, like because I don't think I remembered the poster a lot. And the 4K poster is this poster, just a Beetlejuice. And so like when I saw that Alec Baldwin was in this, I'm like, oh shit, that's awesome. But no, he's great in it. Like everyone's great. It's just it took me a minute to get into the story. But like I said, after that, I was fully on board. I like I said, I love Tim Burton's art style. It's so crazy and like out there, but I absolutely love it. And I love all the practical effects that he brings to his movies, especially this one. Like it was freaking insane. And I I actually love that I knew it going in because I found it more funny is when Michael Keaton Beetlejuice is like giving his speech to Alec Baldwin and I'm sorry, let me find out her name really quickly because she was fantastic and I just forgot her name. So when he's giving his speech to Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis, and they, exit the model of the town that's in the Dietz home. He's just like, oh, where did you go? Freaking out and everything. And he kicks over one of the plastic trees and it wasn't supposed to fall. It was supposed to stay there. It was just a stage error. And after that happens, he turns around. He's just like, nice fucking model. Like I can't believe that was improv by Michael Keaton, but like the fact that I knew that, it just made it that much more funny.
Dude, Michael Keaton is an absolute gem.
He is. Oh my god. I cannot wait to see him return to this character when I go see this. And
I think he knows what we're all going there for, and so I pray that Michael Keaton's in this more.
I read that it's the same amount of screen time.
God damn it!
But hey, if the story's good and it makes sense why he's in it, for the same amount of time, I'm totally cool with that. I trust Tim Burton. But I found it funny that someone asked Winona Ryder like why it took so long to make a Beetlejuice 2. And her answer was the best. She said, "Oh, we were waiting for Jenny Ortega to be born." Jenna Ortega, not Jenny Ortega. Sorry.
That's perfect.
Right,
dude. I was looking. While you were looking all up some of the stuff, I was looking at Tim Burton's directory, like, or just the things that he's directed. So his first thing that he's credited with is a short from 1971.
Oh shit.
So he from between there and 1982, it was nothing but shorts. So he had to so between 1971 and 1982, so what was that, 11 years? He was doing just shorts. Then in 83, he did Hansel and Gretel, a TV movie. And then in 84, he directed Frankenweenie.
Okay.
And then his first, theatrical release was Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah. And then he did two shows, like one episode of two different shows. And then his second movie was Beetlejuice.
Okay, hell yeah. Awesome.
Yeah,
Have you ever
and then
seen?
he just freaking went ham because then it was Beetlejuice, then like one after another, freaking Beetlejuice, then the Batman, Edward Scissorhands, Batman Returns, and like freaking
Damn.
wild, freaking nuts.
I mean, I get it. People love his aesthetic, and I'm on board with it. Have you ever seen the original Frankenweenie?
Yes, I have.
Okay. What are your thoughts?
I
Um,
I liked it.
I did too. I mean, I love I love the animated version more, of course, and I'm glad that Tim Burton was able to actually create what he wanted Frankenweenie to originally be. But yeah, no, the original short film was pretty good.
Yeah, it has a certain charm to it.
It does, yeah. No, I definitely agree. So yeah, with Beetlejuice, hope fans don't kill me for this. But I'm gonna give it a stream it. I watched it at home and I think it's perfectly fine watching it at home. Yes, there are, some things that happen in the afterlife that are like super, super cool, but I don't think that they need to be seen on the big screen personally. I'm sure with Beetlejuice, I'm gonna feel differently. Like I'm gonna be like, oh shit, like I wish I saw that in freaking IMAX. I don't know. We'll see.
Dude,
Um,
just because I don't know what you're referring to, but I'm assuming it's like the stop motion looking stuff, right?
it's that and like how the land of the dead is represented.
Okay. Yeah, I have a feeling we may change our minds just so we could like have that direct comparison between Beetlejuice and this.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
But yeah, I'm actually going to try and watch this before I go see Beetlejuice.
Hell yeah. I enjoyed it. I'm glad that I finally watched it, and I understand why it has such a cult following. Next up for me, I watched one of my favorite reboots of a franchise, and that is The Muppets. I love this movie to death. Most people, when they say, oh, like, the Muppet movie or Muppets Take Manhattan, like those are the movies that like were either their first introduction to the Muppets or like what made them love the Muppets. I mean, I've known who the Muppets were since I was a kid, but I feel like I never like really dived a lot into them. Like, like I saw the Muppets Take Manhattan. I saw that Oz movie that they made with the Muppets. I don't know if you saw that.
No.
Okay. I specifically remember them doing an Oz version of the Muppets. So
Dude, you want to hear something freaking crazy?
huh.
I cannot say for sure that I've seen any Muppets movie.
Not even this one.
Not even this one. I've seen bits and pieces, so I know. So what I know about this is that Jason Segal's character, and then this little Muppet at the top next to the I don't know his name, the Meeper dude, Beaker, yeah.
The Meeper dude. I mean, he's not wrong. That's all he does.
Oh, yeah. I know that they were raised as brothers.
Yep.
And I am familiar with their song, and I know that he has like a fantasy dream or whatever where is a human, and he's played by Jim Parsons.
Dude, I still
outside of that,
won an Oscar. That was so cool.
Yeah, outside of that, I don't believe I've watched anything else because I don't recall.
Really?
Yeah, I don't recall seeing Amy Adams like any of her performance in this movie.
I mean, honestly, if you do want to like actually start watching the Muppets, this is a perfect place to start. Like you said, I've seen now think about it, I don't think I ever actually fully watched all of Muppets Take Manhattan. Like I saw like bits and pieces. I know I watched the full Oz special. I've seen some things from the Christmas Carol, but I feel like this was the movie that like I watched from start to finish of the Muppets, and after watching it, I'm just like, okay, like I finally understand why the Muppets mean so much to people. Like I finally get it. because these characters are freaking great. And kudos to Jason Segel for getting this movie off the ground. Because the Muppets were acquired by Disney in, I think, 2004. And it took a while for them to actually like get a new movie going. And Jason Segel presented this movie. Disney really, really liked it. And so he was able to, because I want to say he's a huge Muppets fan. And so the fact that he got to like probably like make one of his dream movies and star in it, that's just freaking awesome. And guy knocked it out of the park. Watching them like have to come together to save the Muppet Studio, super cool idea of like, I know they get the band back together storyline is like done to death, but I feel like this one made it fresh again. And it was really funny watching where the Muppets ended up after their stardom ended. So like was the movie that followed this one, The Muppets Most Wanted. I actually haven't seen that one fully either. I need to. Like it's probably sad that this is like the only Muppets movie I've seen fully. Besides, well, the Oz one doesn't count because that was just a TV special. But for how much I love this movie, and it made me realize why these characters are so great and mean so much to people. I would love to see this on the big screen if I ever got the chance. So the Muppets, $5 Tuesday.
Yeah, dude, so I never watched the Muppets growing up. Like I've never seen any of the original show.
I've only seen like bits and pieces, man. I'm like
the
on
most
the same
yeah.
thing
So
as you.
the most of the show that I've watched is the I guess the reboot that they released on Disney Plus. And that's when Iris like started paying attention to the TV. And so I was like, okay, cool. So now she's paying attention. So I threw on the Muppets. She liked it a little bit, not enough for me to be like, okay, let's keep watching it. Because it was more, I found it annoying. And I'm still, dude, I'm still of the mindset. Some of like, I mean, obviously some of like the big characters, I know the difference between the Muppets and freaking Sesame Street. Some of the more vague characters, I'm like, I couldn't quite place you.
Damn.
Like I always confuse I always think that the blue guy is part of the Muppets.
Oh, Gonzo?
Yeah.
You think Gonzo is part of Sesame Street? He's not Grover.
Oh, is he part of Muppets?
Yeah, freaking yeah. The one with the nose.
Whoops.
Yeah, dude, you're thinking of Grover.
That's right. That's right. He's the one.
I know they
like,
both start
like
with
superhero.
cheese,
Dude.
but there's a huge
And they're
difference
both
between
blue.
Grover and Gonzo. But Gonzo's really not that blue.
And isn't Gonzo the one that also dresses like a superhero?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, oh yeah, Grover does too, doesn't he?
Oh, does he? Dude, son of a bitch.
Yeah. All right, I guess they should have been more distinctive with these blue characters.
Okay, I need to look it up.
God, thank God they didn't make Elmo green, or people would have really gotten him and Kermit confused, even though Kermit is a freaking frog, but still.
Yeah, dude, yeah, freaking two blue people with weird, like, they're both blue people with weird noses. And it says, like, if you freaking Google Grover Sesame Street, it says Muppet character.
No. He's not a Muppet character.
So anyway, I get the Muppets and the characters of Sesame Street confused quite often, as you can tell.
You know what? I'm not going to give you a hard time for that. I get it. Like, as long as you know that Kermit the Frog, Piggy, Miss Piggy, and Fozzie the Bear are part of the Muppets, not Sesame Street. Those I feel like are the three that if you don't know, like, what the hell's wrong with you?
I know Kermit and Miss Piggy. Those are like the big two. I also know what's his face, the one in the trash can.
That's not the Muppets. That's
God
Sesame
damn it!
Street. You're thinking of Oscar the Grouch.
Who? Oh, god damn it! who the hell am I thinking of? Like they look exactly alike.
Are you
Or-
thinking of like Animal, the drummer from the Muppets?
I
mean, they're
might
not
be.
the same color.
I know. I
but-
might be thinking of the same. Oh my gosh, dude! They're so like in my mind. Are they both? Are they both
God.
Jim Henson?
I believe they are. Yeah, I think both of them are Jim Henson properties.
Okay, that helps me a little bit. Not much, but a little bit.
Wait, I want to make sure.
But you know who I always get Fonzo confused with?
Who?
Freaking Alf.
I hate you. I just want you to know that.
You know what? Fair enough, dude.
Okay,
I'm not
yeah,
the biggest
yeah.
fan of myself right now either.
All jokes, man. All jokes, of course.
Holy shit,
Dude,
but
okay, so yeah, they are Jim Henson.
I bet you some people are just like ripping their hair out right now.
I don't know any like big Muppets fans, but I wish that I did because just yeah. I feel that they'd want to throw their phone after hearing you think that Oscar the Grouch is a freaking Muppet.
Dude, honestly, hold on. If you look up Oscar the Grouch, it says Muppet character.
But he's part of Sesame Street, not the Muppets. There's a difference between being a Muppet and part of the Muppets. That's what Jim Henson called basically all of his animatron or characters from Sesame Street to what is that? Fraggle Rock? Was that what it was called?
Dude, let's not throw in more
Yeah,
Muppets.
Fraggle Rock.
Let's not
Okay.
throw in more Muppets to this.
Okay.
I'm already getting them confused as it is.
Dude, I've never seen Fraggle Rock, so I can't even comment on those characters.
Oh man. Dude, and did you say that Jim Henson had something to do with both?
Yeah, so he did both Sesame Street and the Muppets.
Oh my hell. There's not much of an excuse, but because I didn't watch freaking Sesame Street as a kid either.
Really?
Dead ass.
That shocks me. I thought having known you, I thought your mom would be okay with you watching Sesame Street. Like there was really nothing like bad on Sesame Street.
It wasn't. I think I just by the time my mom I wouldn't even say allowed us because that would have been completely fine to. I don't think it's anything. I'll have to ask her about that.
It's like,
I'm
so
like,
Mom,
hey,
why
did you
don't I
ever,
know
like-
Sesame Street?
Yeah, like, did you let us? Because like I remember like the shows that she used to turn on for me and my brothers were all like very different. Like all of mine were like Disney based. So
Okay.
she turned on like Winnie the Pooh or
Classic.
yeah, or just classic Disney.
Yeah.
Like classic
okay.
Disney was what she turned on for me in terms of like baby shows. And then it was like Blue's Clues, like those types of shows.
So she mostly stuck to those two networks, Nickelodeon and Disney Channel or Disney.
I wouldn't say she stuck to it because like I don't know. Like it was mostly that. And then we got to like when Koi came around, his jam like was also Disney, but what was his? He really liked Franklin the Turtle.
Oh yeah, classic. I
And
remember
he
that.
liked I think that was like his big show. And then Bronson, when he came around like early 2000s, he really liked Little Bill.
Oh yeah, I remember Little Bill.
Yeah. A show that probably hasn't aged well.
Yeah. Oh, Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say the same thing about Fat Albert. So
fair. Totally fair. But yeah, so like we all had like our shows, and so I don't remember any of us watching like Muppets or Sesame Street. Like I don't think any of us watched those.
like The Muppets I can understand a little bit just because
Yeah, like
not
I
just
feel
a
like
little
Muppets
bit.
is like a little like slightly older audience.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a little more mature than Sesame Street, but I'm just shocked about Sesame Street because I thought like every millennial has seen at least one episode of Sesame Street.
If we watched Sesame Street, it was never like my mom always kind of made a big deal or like not like made a big deal about it, but just like would do something special for shows that we used to watch. So like Winnie the Pooh, I had like Winnie the Pooh sheets and blankets and stuff like that. Um Same thing with like other shows that we watched. Like I remember freaking like when we were into Power Rangers, we had Power Rangers like freaking underwear.
Dude, I'm glad my mom wasn't the only one that did that.
What, like sheets and underwear?
Well, yeah, because freaking like when it came to like the next big thing that I was, into, whether it be like Spider-Man or Hulk or The Incredibles, for that like Christmas, my mom would always get me like the freaking comforter set.
Yeah,
That
like that was my
specific
mom's
brand.
go-to move. Yeah, like Coy had freaking Spider-Man sheets and we were very particular over who had whose sheets. Like we would get pissed, like those are my sheets. like we'd get freaking livid about it.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, but we also like different like textures. Like Coy liked those fuzzy cotton sheet covers.
Yeah.
And I liked the smoother ones, like I don't even know what they're called, like the polyester ones, I guess.
Okay.
So like we had very different like feels. And so anytime I had to use Koi's, like because his were like the only clean sheets, I would almost refuse to sleep in them. I'm like, I don't like it. It makes my skin feel weird.
No offense, man, but you're sounding like Kyle's cousin Kyle from South Park.
You know what? Fair enough. Fair enough. But yeah,
These sheets give my skin a rash.
okay, I never got like a rash, but no, it wasn't like it wasn't like they made my skin feel like itchy or anything. It was like they were like too warm.
All right,
Like cuz he liked
I can
those
understand that.
it's like he had those thicker sheets, and so when you'd lay in them, there was like like you're so hot. And I run warm. So anytime we have like those cotton sheets, like I want to freaking die.
You're just like, Brielle, why did you do this to me?
I know, dude. I freaking sweat. I sweat like a pig. Like if I'm in if I'm in sheets that don't breathe. Like it's freaking it's nuts. But yeah, that was my mom's go-to move with the comforter set.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll have to ask her about Muppets and Sesame Street. Like, see,
Yeah, I'm very interested now. Yeah, definitely let me know what she says.
I'm wondering if it's like the same situation with Iris, where it's just like she wasn't into it, so we stopped watching it.
No, completely fair.
Yeah. All right, moving on to what I watched this week. I only watched one thing, and I watched Jackpot, John Cena Aquafina movie on Amazon Prime. Bro, surprisingly good. It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, Caleb has definitely convinced me to watch this movie now, so I'm excited to check it out.
It's surprisingly funny. Like I said, I thought this was going to be like a cheap, stupid, like whatever comedy. Like this is really freaking funny, and it has some of my like favorite aspects of this. Like just it had like creative, kind of like Purge style kills.
Love that.
which was super fun. And what I like about it is John Cena's character is like super concerned about everyone's safety. Like he'll freaking put people down, but he'll start like he'll run up to them and like turn them on their side, and he's like, "We don't want them to choke on their tongue." And so he does like weird shit like that, and Aquafina is just like, "Let's get the hell out of here!" And it's pretty funny. It's a really good time. So yeah, I don't want to spoil too much of it, just for anyone that does want to watch it. And I feel like I already spoiled a shit ton for you before we even started recording,
dude.
But
it's all, dude. Honestly, you telling me like certain aspects about John Cena's character like makes me want to watch him more. So trust me, you didn't spoil it for me.
yeah, but it's fun. It's really fun. And yeah, it's got a lot of like really good bits in it. I'd say like if I had to take a guesstimate on how many of the jokes land, I'd put it in like the high 80s. Like I'd say about 85% of the jokes land.
That's really good.
Yeah,
Okay.
Like I said, I could have been tired when I watched it, but
I mean, honestly, that makes certain comedies so much more fun.
It does. And then I'm like, dude, I feel like such an idiot sometimes because I'll do that where I'll watch a comedy when I'm really tired. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, like showing my wife, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I need like check this movie out. It's so freaking funny. And then all the same bits over it. I'm like,
wait a damn minute.
Yeah, like, oh no, did this suck? But yeah, it's a good time if you get a chance to watch it. Highly recommend. Yeah. Which is why I'm going to be giving this a stream it. And not for any other reason, it does not need to be seen on the big screen. Like there's nothing in this that's like, oh my goodness, like it's stuff that's you're perfectly fine watching it at home.
Fair enough.
But yeah, that's all I watched this week.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, with that, let's say we move on to our breakdown this week.
Yeah. Caleb's favorite movie of 2024.
Shut up. Alrighty, getting into this week's breakdown. If you guys are new to our breakdown system, we have split movies into 8 different categories that we individually score to come to a final All Bros letter grade. The 8 categories that we will be scoring are story, writing, acting, character development, effects, music, costumes, and then we'll give it our own personal score at the very end. All of those numbers get magically added up and spit through our algorithm and give us a letter grade to compare this movie to others of a similar grade. So without further ado, if you have not seen The Crow, you're probably fine. Rose is about to spoil the entire freaking movie for you.
I just thought, did we even say that we were doing The Crow at the beginning of the episode? Because I don't remember.
I don't know if we did.
Shit. Okay. Well, surprise. Shitty surprise, but
yeah, I mean, it's the title of the episode, so
I know
they'd be able to tell from that.
All right, so that's true.
But yeah,
I to ruin my bit.
No, we usually don't miss that.
No, just I was thinking about that. I'm like, oh shit, I don't even think that we're just like bagging on this movie, and I don't think we even said the title.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you have not seen this movie, Rose is about to spoil the whole thing for you, and you're probably fine.
You know what I was telling Caleb this, that at least with this movie, it got us interested in watching the original.
Yeah.
So,
and this movie did so poorly that we're going to be able to stream it for free. Dude, I legitimately almost postponed having us do this episode because I saw that it's like, oh, the Crow comes to streaming due to bad performance of the reboot. I was like, great. Like, now I don't have to pay to go see it. And then they're like, nope, it's the original that's coming to streaming. And I'm like, man.
Yeah. Did they say what streaming service?
Ooh, that's a good question. Let's find out. 1994. Looks like it's on Paramount Plus.
Hell yeah. Okay, sweet.
Yeah, so if you guys want to check out the OG The Crow.
There you go.
Dude, The Crow has a shit ton of movies.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. It's freaking insane.
Yeah, The Crow City of Angels, The Crow Salvation, just straight up Crow, The Crow Wicked Prayer. That's all I've seen so far. That's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
I'll have to message Riley or Mr. Plunge about that, because any movies that have more than 4, or I think it's either 3 or 4, he throws in his movie wheel. So
Oh hell yeah.
so he may need to watch those movies.
Yes. Oh yeah, I'd love to see him react to those.
Oh man, dude, some of those movies have some crazy casts.
Dude, I was shocked to find out that freaking Ernie Hudson was in the first Crow.
Ernie Hudson?
Yeah.
Holy
Mr.
shit.
I'm pretty okay, you know what? I want to make sure here. I swear that he is Mr. Winston Zeddemore himself. Yep, yeah, he is.
Jeez.
I love that his
there's
picture.
There's a 2022 movie called The Crow.
Huh. Dude, I love that Ernie Hudson's picture is him from a Comic-Con in his Ghostbusters jumpsuit. That makes me so happy. That is awesome.
That is crazy. Dude, the freaking cast for some of these Crow movies is ridiculous.
I honestly will say I look forward to watching the original to get the bad taste out of my mouth from this remake.
Yeah. And if that OG one's good enough, like I'll probably check out the others.
Yeah. Like I remember seeing Ernie Hudson comment on it and saying, you know, like Brandon Routh lost his life making this movie, and I don't understand why you're remaking it, and just all this stuff.
Brandon Lee.
Brandon
Routh,
I'm sorry.
the Superman.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Dude, I had a little like attack because I freaking love Brandon Routh.
I'm sorry, my bad. I apologize. Brandon Lee. It's unfortunate that he lost his life making the original Crow. And so yeah, I know Ernie Hudson was definitely not game for them making this remake, and now I understand why. I mean, most remakes of movies, you don't really understand why they need to. Even when they say, oh, it's a reimagining, it's still a goddamn remake. I don't care if you call it a reimagining. There are some, diamonds in the rut, looking at Child's Play. But this one definitely, spoiler alert, joins the group of like, yeah, even though I haven't even seen the original, I know it's better than this one.
In some aspects, I'll say yes. In others, I'm probably going to say no. There are some aspects of this movie that I feel are really good, and I'm kind of excited to get into those.
I'm interested to see your score, because I feel for the most part, I think me and Caleb are going to be about the same, but I think on some stuff we might differ a little bit.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting.
But yeah, so we'll be posting that spoiler warning now, so if you listen beyond this point and anything's spoiled for you, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So let's get started in our favorite segment that we like to call Reading with Rose.
All right. Eric, an addict with a troubled childhood, struggles with life and nightmares at a rehabilitation center. Shelley, a musician with similar issues, receives a video text from her friend Zadie. Is it Zadie or Zaddy? I can't remember.
Freaking Zadie. Dude, the movies or the names in this movie were freaking ridiculous.
Her parents weren't keen on Sadie. They had to do Zadie. Would it be edgy?
Like I said, ridiculous.
Her friend Zadie that incriminates. Okay, I'm going to start over with that sentence. Shelley, a musician with similar issues, received a video text from her friend Zadie that incriminates Vincent Rogue, a crime lord posing as a musical aristocrat. Sorry. The freaking Disney film stuck in my head.
I'm like, yeah, when you said that, I was like, nope.
I hate that movie for me always thinking that it's supposed to say aristocrat, not aristocrat. Love that movie for everything else except for that reason. All right.
Dude, that would be hilarious if you were in a professional setting and be like, oh, he's just some big time aristocrat. What'd you say?
Excuse me,
Crap.
Mr. Rose, do you want to repeat that?
No, I do not.
Moving on. Choosing to save the video despite knowing that possessing it would mean her death, Shelley attempts to go into hiding but is immediately pursued by... For some reason, that I didn't catch on to that I didn't even notice that she saved the video.
Yeah,
Maybe I
what
wasn't
kind of
paying
what
attention
was
to that.
Oh my gosh, dude. Freaking bad decision. Well, they were going to come after her either way.
Yeah.
Like they were I think ultimately like that's what it came down to. They were going to kill her either way because
Yeah, because like unless it's like
Zadie's the bad friend.
Yeah, because unless it's like sent through Snapchat, no one's gonna know that you saved the damn video.
Yeah, but well, so they found on Zadie's phone that she sent it to Shelley.
Oh, okay.
And so they're like, okay, we need to track her down. So they were going to kill her either way, just to freaking tie up loose ends.
But I just didn't realize that it was implied so much that she saved it to her phone.
Yeah.
But whatever. Let's see. So choosing to save the video despite knowing that possessing it would mean her death, Shelley attempts to go into hiding but is immediately pursued by Rogue's henchmen. They break their pursuit when Shelley is arrested for drug possession. Zadie is captured and interrogated by Rogue. He reveals that, centuries ago, he had made a pact with the devil to send innocent souls to hell in exchange for eternal life. Okay. I gotta watch the original because I'm curious if the character is the same. Whatever. He forces Zadie to kill herself by whispering incantations in her ear. Shelley is sent to the same rehab center where Eric is situated. The two become smitten with each other and bond over time. When Marion, Rogue's right hand, suddenly appears at the institution, Shelley panics and convinces Eric to help her escape. They take refuge in the vacant home of one of Shelley's friends, and the two quickly fall in love and attempt to live a carefree life together, but are soon found by Rogue's men and murdered. I will say that scene was very hard to watch, watching them like freaking get murdered with the plastic bags over their heads. That was effed.
Dude, it was intense. It was super intense.
Like the acting was really good from both of them in that scene, I have to say.
Hell yeah. Because, dude, I bet you they were kind of suffocating a little bit.
Yeah, like seriously. Eric awakens in a purgatory-like rail yard where Kronos, a spirit guide, explains that Eric will have to kill Rogue to be reunited with Shelley. Revived and possessing the ability to heal from injuries, Eric visits Sophia, Shelley's mother, who was present with Marion at the rehab center. Sophia reveals that she made a deal with Rogue, wealth in exchange for Shelley's soul. After Eric leaves, Rogue visits Sophia to inquire about Eric, but forces her to jump off the roof when dissatisfied with her answers. Yeah, when he like started after he whispered to her and he walked down, just like, yeah, she's gonna jump. Like the way that the like shot was panning out and like it kept like kind of going a little further as he was walking away. I'm like, yeah, like come on, we all know she's gonna jump, and we're gonna, yeah.
They made it so freaking obvious too. It's like they didn't even like try to hide it. Like it was a freaking like they should have centered him, and then they should have just like panned over to the side a little bit at like right before bam, because then it wouldn't have been, or it wouldn't have felt quite as obvious. But yeah, like the fact that he was on the left hand side of the screen walking towards you, and you got a perfectly clear view of the sidewalk behind you, it's like, yeah, duh.
Yeah. So yeah, after Eric leaves, Rogue visits Sophia to inquire about Eric but forces her to jump off the roof when dissatisfied with her answers. Eric proceeds to hunt down and kill several of Rogue's men and finds Shelley's phone with the incriminating video revealing that Rogue had previously forced Shelley to kill a woman. Suddenly doubting his love for Shelley, Eric loses his ability to heal and is again killed. Returned to the afterlife, Eric makes a deal with Kronos to take Shelley's place in hell in exchange for another chance to kill Rogue. Rogue learns of Eric's supernatural abilities and orders Marion to lure him to them in order to seize Eric's powers. Eric tracks Marion to an opera house, savagely killing all of Rogue's men to reach her. Marion reluctantly discloses Rogue's location before Eric decapitates her. Rogue manages to subdue Eric and attempts to steal his powers before Eric is able to transport them both to the afterlife, where he quickly finishes Rogue and saves Shelley's soul. After a brief reunion between the lovers, Shelley is revived on the night of their deaths and mourns for Eric after Kronos, disguised as a medic, tells her that he gave his life for her. Eric accepts his fate, content in his belief that their souls will one day find each other again. It's the perfect way to sum up this movie.
Dude, it was so rough. Getting straight into this, dude. The story structure of the first half sucked.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
100%.
They have this this situation where I don't feel like they establish things quite right. Like what they do is like you see this scene of a young Eric walking down this road and he sees a horse that's like injured and like has like barbed wire and stuff, and it's jumping back and forth between young Eric and Skarsgård Eric, and you're just like, it was jarring. Like I thought because he kept looking to the house where all the crows were. Like, I was like, okay, so he's already, like, crowified? Or, like, is this, like, he's having flashbacks to, like, when he to something? Like, what's the deal here? And no, it's just, was young him, and then the completely unrelated scene in the other, like, when it was Skarsgård, and I'm like, this is odd, jumping back and forth. And then it cuts to, and turns out he's in some freaking like rehab facility, and we don't even like see him until Shelley gets there. And I'm like, that doesn't track.
Yeah, no, I will say I didn't think that I get what you're saying with like the whole like, oh, kind of just seems like he's already crowified at the beginning. I feel, I mean, they didn't explain this well, but I feel that just for like the and you know, I'll get to this with writing because I actually really liked, I will say I did like the monologue that he's giving at the beginning of this movie. When he's explaining you know, like, you know, what death can do to somebody and all this stuff. I feel that even before the Kronos explains what the crow means when it comes to death, I feel that like all those crows being there, that just represented death to me. So I didn't think as him being already the crow as a child or crowfied. Did you say crowfied?
Yeah.
Okay. I like that word. But like it is a very weird opening because like you get like this like I said, like really powerful monologue that he's giving because like he's like what he's saying, I'm just like, yeah, it's so freaking true. I'm really like connecting to what you're saying, but then it's like bouncing back and forth between young and present day Eric, and I'm just like, okay, so you get this this young Eric that's dealing with the death of his, I'm assuming, a horse that he was very close to and he's trying to save.
Yeah, which they never established. This
No.
could have easily been apparent.
Yeah, no, like seriously. And then freaking like, doesn't it like after he like slices his hand on the barbed wire, doesn't it like fully commit to him being an adult? Like, isn't that like the last we see?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
like it. So what threw me with that scene is that it kept jumping. Like when it was jumping to him as an adult, it looked like he was inside a trailer.
Yeah, I did.
So I think that's why I was thinking, okay, is this just some other dude, or like what's the deal here?
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, is he having a nightmare because he's sensing this death? Because that's what made me think that he was all crowified. Like it was the crow inside him that was like sensing the death that was happening or that was occurring outside his door.
Yeah.
Like that's what was getting me.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, they really did not do a great job at establishing a lot of stuff with this
Yeah, and then
movie.
they basically completely ignore that scene the rest of the freaking film.
Yeah.
Other than he like looks at his hands and you see the scars from the barbed wire.
Yeah, that's
and then
literally
that's
it.
it.
It's such a weird opening seeing him like you see like a close-up shot of him just walking through on these muddy trails holding I think it was a 7-Eleven bag with freaking what was it in it? I think it was just a bottle of alcohol, right?
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
Yeah.
Something
And then
glass.
and then like like him dealing with the horse and trying to stop it from dying, but he can't, slices his hand, and then we fully jump into him as an adult in this rehab center. And like I remember it taking me, because it's so sudden that like I actually missed the part when we jump to the rehab center and it actually says that it's a rehab center, like when they do like the first shot of like the building and it says the name. For some reason, I guess like the shot for me at least, because I'm sorry, I found this movie very boring, so like some shots like I was a little slow with. So like it wasn't until like it took me a little bit more to be like, oh, okay, so this is a rehab center, this isn't like freaking prison. Okay.
Yeah. So it was you're totally right. It was boring. It was hard to follow because like they don't focus on him. Like they shifted their focus to Shelly.
Yeah.
And then like it was like Shelly's whole deal, and then you see her go and get arrested, and then she gets sent to this rehab facility, and you're just like, dude, what is going on? Like it was hard to follow. And then they just kind of fell for each other so ridiculously hard and fast. It was it was so hard, dude. Like you understand why his little crush comes from, because he's the only one that sees her. She didn't see him. Like she was being escorted by a guard. She didn't see shit. And then she's like suddenly in his room and just like flirting question mark.
Shit, sorry.
And it's like it's so weird. And then they escape. Like it's unhinged behavior is what's happening. And I'm like, dude, what in the actual ass?
Dude, especially the scene when they're in the cafeteria and she sits down at his table and he's like, oh, they don't like the men and women sitting together. And she's just like, oh, I know, I'm a rule breaker, or like some shit like that. I'm just like, is this supposed to be foreplay? Because this is really freaking weird.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, obviously they don't care that freaking much.
Yeah.
Like, because she was there for a while.
Yeah, and then a guy finally like shouts like, hey, and Eric's just like, oh, right on time. And then she is just able to get up and go. Like there's no repercussions for that.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
And then it just kind of establishes like everyone in that facility hates him. Why?
Just because he keeps to himself, doesn't say shit? Like,
yeah.
Shouldn't that be a model, I'm not going to say inmate, but a model patient?
Yeah. I'm like, dude, so you guys are being a dick to him for no reason at all? Like, make that make sense.
I don't know. Maybe in like a rehab center, like you want the patient to actually communicate and, like express themselves and, like really try to understand the person. So like, I'm not going to say I understand why they were the way that they are to him, but like if I'm comparing to like how they are in prison, like him keeping to himself and everything, yeah, that's a model prisoner. Like that's what guards want. Like They don't want any shit from you. They just want you to do what you're told and shut the hell up. But like in rehab, like they actually want you to talk to them. They want to help you get better. So like I don't condone their activity, but I get why they're like always trying to like freaking like push him.
Dude, you know what would have helped this a lot is if one they either like made a better distinction of time of how long the relationship lasted, because it felt like it was only like a week or two. And I'm like, these are very,
Yeah.
very strong feelings for like a week or two. You needed to establish this as something more, or at least show that this isn't just a quick fling. Like they spent like they have spent like years together, or at a year minimum, because it's like anything less than that is too much for all
felt
the
like,
shit he went through. It's like, dude, freaking cut your losses.
It felt like a weekend at the Crows.
Yep.
That's really what it felt like
Yep.
with their
Bingo.
relationship.
Yeah. So I think what would have helped is either they established that the relationship took place over a longer period of time, or they just show that the relationship was pre-existing.
Yes. That's 100%.
Yeah, and then I think it would have made more sense if she was like the one, like if she had gotten this thing from Zadie, like this message, and just to show his commitment towards her. You kind of had like you could do all like the cutesy tootsie freaking couples things that they did together. Like you could have had all of that, like shown the montage of that, and then get into the freaking Zadie shit where Zadie sends the message to Shelly. Shelly opens it, kind of freaks out, goes and gets herself arrested. And then Eric's just like, oh, what the shit? And so he goes and gets himself arrested and put into the rehab and everything. Like basically just to show off his commitment to her a bit better than this basically perfect stranger that he's throwing away his life for.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree. Just I don't know, like especially when he chooses to bring her soul back to life for his. I'm just like, buddy, you knew her for like a week, like
not even, dude. Like, holy shit!
You really think it's worth spending the rest of eternity in hell for her?
You gave up your immortal soul for someone you don't even know.
Like, come on, man.
So this is what I'm getting at. Pre-existing relationship would have worked, because then you're like, oh, like damn, this dude is committed to her, and like I would have felt different about it versus like me just being like, okay, trying to get on board with this relationship that's just been going super quick.
Yeah. And like you don't even need like a huge like explanation of like why their relationship is so strong. Like give me just like a couple minutes of like where they started, how far they've come, yada yada yada. I'll be way more behind why this relationship is so strong compared to freaking how it plays out in the movie.
Yeah, just give us a little bit more like Bill Skarsgård monologue.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I would have been super down for that.
I mean,
and
I'm
it would
more Bill Skarsgård, so
yeah, and it would have explained, or it would just establish that a lot better than what they did.
100%.
Yep. And you need to get rid of the freaking artsy fartsy shit. You need to freaking clear this movie. There's a lot of that in this.
Yeah, there is.
Like, dude, I shit you not. There was a whole sequence where, like, I think it was like shortly after Shelly died, and he's like roaming through the streets, and this crow's basically like chasing him. Or like
I remember that. Yeah,
I was like, I'm gonna take a minute to go to the bathroom, and I ran out, went to the bathroom, came back, and then the scene like had ended, and I'm like, bro.
Yeah, dude,
like,
you didn't miss anything.
And then it was
I remember the exact moment you're talking about, and yeah, nothing happened.
Yeah. And then like I get back and I think it was like right before he was getting kidnapped or taken by those guys and like died.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
So,
freaking dumb. Freaking dumb. So
it's like at least you can
clip that
appreciate for
bullshit.
that. Like it actually gives you like a good bathroom break moment.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But honestly, after that, that's when the movie started to pick up in like a good way. Like then it got
I was
the story wasn't perfect by any
no.
stretch of the imagination. Like not even in the second half, but the
Yeah.
second half picked up its pace a little bit, and I appreciated it for that.
Like I will say, like when he's being told, like what happened to him and Shelly, and like what it caused, what he has to do, and all this stuff. Like when we're in that area of purgatory, I thought that was actually really cool.
It looks
And like
super awesome.
yeah, like those scenes were really cool. And I agree. Like after, like, would you say like after they die, like that's when it like takes off?
It takes a while, even after he dies.
All right, fair. Yeah, you got a point. But
Because I mean,
I
listen, like there are scenes after that are like, okay, cool. So like when he first like wakes up and fights that one cop and gets like shot
dude,
and stabbed a couple times, freaking
I
sick.
I hate this movie for that scene because when I go to the movies, I usually don't get concessions. Just for some reason, I just don't. This movie, I decided, and you know what? I don't feel like I'm gonna love this movie, so I feel I need some popcorn to get me through this movie. So I decided to get some popcorn. I hate this. I hate that moment because that gunshot scared the ever living shit out of me, and I dropped a lot of my popcorn for that. So
Yeah, all
screw
I
this
got was
movie for that.
all I got was a drink, so I was good.
Ah, you mother effer.
Yeah, but dude,
Yeah, but I'm just like, God damn it.
oh man, it scared the shit out of me too. Like there was a couple moments where I was like, oh, because it was just shit that was like way loud.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were a couple action sequences before it really started popping off that I was like, okay, like now we're picking it up, and then it slowed down. I'm like, God damn it. And then it,
Yeah.
like slow, action. Here we go. Nothing. I'm like, "Ugh." Like,
Yeah,
can
like
we
every
freaking
single
snap the ball on time?
like seriously, like every time he was killing Rowan, whatever the hell his name is, his henchman, that was some cool shit. Like honestly, I was having a good time watching that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of the stuff, almost everything in between, that I'm just like, okay, can we just get more killing, please?
It's just I needed a better story structure, is what it came
Yeah.
down to. This is probably one of the weaker categories for me personally. It was so below average and so boring, and the pacing was off. It was rough. Even after like the second half saved it a little bit. Like I'd say before the second half like pop off, I probably would be at like a 63. Like really, like I said, freaking low. But I think I'm like 68 with the second half. It's
Oh, damn, man, I feel you're being generous, but that's just me.
it was rough, but I think the second half makes up for quite a bit. Obviously not a lot because it didn't even crack 70.
I don't know if I can agree with you fully. Like, yeah, the second half does pick up quite a bit. Or not quite a bit, at least like it picks up a little bit compared to the first half. But it still didn't make up for what I feel is not a great plot. I was not on board from the beginning, and by the end, I'm just like, okay, can we just wrap it up here?
I'll
Like,
say this, there's a lot you have to set aside. Like by the second half, I'm like, okay, here, like it was like after that whole sequence, like when you had like after I think the going to the bathroom kind of acted like a refresh button for me.
Damn, I wish I got that.
Because I left and I came back and it was like right before everything popped off, and I was like, all right, like trying to take a mental assessment of where we're at. I'm like, okay, he loves this woman obviously more than anything. Like he's at the point where he would do anything for her. And he can't die, and he's willing to like give up basically anything for her. And so like I had to like kind of establish that in my own brain. Like, okay, this is where it's at, even though it didn't make sense on how it all came together. This is where we're at. So maybe that's an unfair advantage I'm giving it, but I don't know. It was
No, dude, I get it. No, I'm glad that you were able to step away from this movie, get a little breather, and come in like with a fresh mind. I love that. I unfortunately did not. And just like from the like I said, I agree with Caleb that like in the second half it picks up a little bit, but just from the very beginning to the very end, I just wasn't fully on board with this movie, with this movie story. So I'm gonna go 62. Oops.
I understand that. Oh man. All right. Moving on over to writing. This isn't much better.
No, like I said, the opening monologue was probably my favorite writing. And one, because it came from Bill Skarsgård, because Bill Skarsgård is a fantastic actor. And the monologue is just so great, speaking of how someone's death can honestly shape someone's life after they've gone. It affects someone so much. It shocks you, rocks you to your core. And yeah, just like I don't fully remember it, and I wish I did. And I can't, when I look it up, I can't find it because the movie's only been out for like 2 weeks. An abysmal 2 weeks. God, the box office is so bad for this movie. But just like, I'm gonna be honest, like when that opening monologue happened, I'm just like, okay, you know what? Maybe this movie might be good. Like I'm vibing with this monologue, like I really am. And then the rest of the movie happened and the rest of the writing, and I'm just like, all right, never mind. I take it back.
Dude, there was like nothing in here that was like a heavy hitter, and I feel like they could have, like, they started off strong, but they couldn't freaking keep it up.
Nope.
Like I'd even say like the purgatory, like gatekeeper, was written poorly.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm like, dude, that's like the person that you should freaking be in awe of.
Yeah.
Like the person that's borderline a god. Like it should be someone that you fear, that has such like, I would like almost border like James Spader levels of dialogue. Like that's who you should be, like how you should view him.
Yeah, like so he's the stop, but he's like the midway point from the living to the dead.
Yeah.
So dude, really quickly, speaking of James Spader, please tell me you heard that he's coming back as Ultron.
Oh, yes.
I am so excited for that. Sorry, getting off topic, but I just want to make sure Caleb knew that because God, I'm so
I did
freaking
know
excited.
that, and dude, I have a theory. I'll
Really?
run by you. I'll run by you after the show.
All right, cool.
After we're done.
Okay,
But dude, it was rough. Like this person that I felt like I was supposed to view as like a deity wasn't. It just felt like it was just some like dirty hobo that like kind of helps guide the crow.
Yeah.
And it's like, it doesn't really track.
And like freaking oh god, what's the bad guy's name?
Who cares?
Yep, 100% agree with that. Where's the cast? There it is. Rogue, Vincent Rogue. Like almost every line of dialogue out of his mouth, I'm just like, God, this is like so stereotypical bad guy.
Yeah. Like he's a stereotype. He's a stereotype with freaking cookie cutter dialogue.
You
Like,
know what? Just because for how stereotypical it was, when he's watching that one girl play the piano, I would have just loved watching him eat an apple. Like that, that would have just been the cherry on top, being like, okay, he is the definition of stereotypical, and I'm here for it just because you realize it and you're pushing that. So I will give you a pass because you're realizing what you're doing here. But they didn't, and clearly they I'm assuming they thought like, oh, the writing for Vincent is just amazing. He's such a great villain. No, he's as stereotypical as they come.
yep. Like it's seriously like, if think about any little bit of dialogue that you would get from a antagonist that has demonic roots. You got that, like, what this dude's dialogue was. It was so bland. Like, I kept forgetting he was part of the movie.
Dude, freaking when he says like and like this was the first introduction to this character and we didn't know this, but when he says, oh, I made a deal with the devil and so I trade good souls for mine, I rolled my eyes. I'm like, oh my God, that is one of the most I'm the bad guy lines I think I've ever heard in a movie.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't even know how I would have written that dude better.
Dude, like seriously.
Like,
Wait,
anytime that they're like, I mean, take our freaking breakdown of Borderlands, for example. We didn't even know the source material, and we were able to think of like a better antagonist than what we got. This,
exactly.
I couldn't even tell you, dude. I could not even tell you. And I'm like, dude, is she freaking innocent? Like, she's kind of a junkie.
No, like seriously.
Like,
In your-
their vibe, or their definition of innocent souls was pretty lacking. And
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe the reason you haven't paid off your debt yet is because you're stealing the souls of these junkies, and not like truly innocent souls. Like, I thought he was going to steal the soul of the piano chick.
Dude, I thought the same thing.
Yeah, but no, he does some bullshit that's like corrupting them, and then I'm like, dude, like, aren't you kind of like negating your own purpose?
I feel she was such like a wasted character. Like
I know. What was she even in there for?
yeah, like what the hell?
Frick, it's so stupid.
Oh man.
Dude, I was originally at a 65 with the writing. I think I'm down where you're at with writing. I'm at like a 62. Or where you're at with your story. I'm at a 62. The dialogue is just so bland. It is so bland. Dude, they were seriously one bad rewrite away from doing I am the Crow.
Dude, like, and I get it's based off a comic book. I get that, but look at all of these other comic book movies that have come out in recent years, and they're able to take the source material, the lines that are very well known, and make them not sound so campy, not so, oh my God, yeah, this really truly feels like it's from a comic book.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that hard.
Dude, someone worded this perfect. It is dark for darkness's sake.
Yep. That's perfect.
And then they had this little bit where he, like, after he killed those guys, after he'd like freaking turned his soul over to the devil, where he's like sitting there, like, after he's butchered these people, and he's like looking something up, and he's like, hold this, and sticks the cigarette in the dead dude's mouth. I'm like, are you actually shitting me?
So
Like, is that
stupid.
supposed to be a joke? Like, no, dude. Like, absolutely
shut
not.
the hell up, man.
I can't even think. Like, I think that, like, stealing the souls of the innocent is an interesting idea. The way
100%.
the way it's the problem was it wasn't. Like it was interesting, and I was like, okay, like how, like you got to represent that you're stealing their soul a bit better than like having them stab themselves in the neck, touching them, and going like having like a
Yeah, no,
freaking orgasm and then dropping them.
Yeah,
Like what the fuck?
yeah, like literally every scene it was just him whispering in their ear, their eyes turning white, and then them killing themselves. That was it.
Yeah, I'm like, that is that stealing their soul?
Yeah, like I think of someone stealing someone's soul, like I swear it's happened in a movie, but I can't remember, where like you literally are like slurp, not slurping, but like you're sucking in, and so and it looks as if like the soul is like escaping the body and it's like going into you. Like that might be like a little too much, like a little like too like, oh yeah, it's that obvious. Like I get it, you're taking someone's soul, but I feel like they could have made it a little more obvious with this one.
Yeah, I think they needed to go a little bit more supernatural with this route.
Yeah.
Or with the route that they took.
I mean, hell, for like how campy this freaking movie was, I think that would have been better with just watching him, just having him like freaking suck the soul in like right then and there, and then they kill themselves. I'm like, okay, he took their soul. All right. It's very tongue in cheek, but at least I know that he actually did take their freaking soul.
You want to know the route that I would have taken?
Hmm.
And it would have required a little bit more special effects. But what I would have done to kind of just show that their souls were being taken, what is I would have had him do like a full-blown like ritual. Because he had the freaking Dexter death room. Like, why not?
Yeah.
Like, I would have had him draw like these runes on the ground and have like put the person like let's just use Zadie's for example. I would have had like Zadie's had like her be put in the middle of this rune, like being held by some people, and then he does like does the whispering in her ear, and then she like freezes, and then like her hands like invisible chains like kind of like hold her down, right? Like
Okay.
still the white eyes and everything. And then him giving like a whole spiel about like the uh an innocent soul needing to like to repay a debt that he owes. Like just some sort of like, obviously write it better than this, but it's just some sort of like ritual that he has to perform. And then like you could like almost like see the color like drain from her until it gets to her feet and then just collapse on the ground. Like something that's just so terrifying to like look at, where it's just like where it's borderline like demonic, and you're just like, dude, what in the actual ass is happening? And then it's just boom, like then she just drops dead to the floor.
Yeah. See, yeah, I would have been down for that.
Yeah, then it's just like like with what he did where she stabbed herself and then he like just like put his hand over her neck wounds
Yeah.
and then just like sat there and like convulsed. I was like, what is happening? Like
No,
for this, it's
seriously.
just like like the deal with the devil. I don't know. Like maybe I'm thinking about like the deals with devils a little bit too like transactionally. But it's like, listen, I'll give you immortality, but you owe me X amount of innocent souls. It's like, okay, cool. Or you owe me an innocent soul every X amount of time. Okay, got it. Cool. It shouldn't be like I'm absorbing that soul. It should be like I am sending that soul to the devil.
Yeah.
Like,
Agreed.
like that's how I view it should be. And then like the whole like forcing the people to like doing that with Zadie would have been perfect. It's just like, okay, boom, like it sucks the soul out of her, collapses in it in just a heap of body, with Shelley's mom, that would have made a little bit more sense if it's just like straight up mind control.
Yeah.
And then like instead of like stealing her soul, because obviously she's not innocent in any way, he's just more like a crossroads demon where like he's making a side deal. I don't know. Like I would have made it a little bit more obvious that he is stealing the souls or like sending the souls to hell.
No, I absolutely agree.
Like, and who knows how much that would have helped? Probably not a lot,
Fair.
but it would have been a little bit more obvious. And then like I don't understand what his goal was trying to obtain the crow.
Yeah.
Like, was he trying to steal his soul? Because he already gave his soul up.
True. Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, it seemed like he wasn't going to win anything from that.
Yeah. Unless it was just like, this was like the end all be all where the devil like comes to him and he's just like, I will give you permanent immortality if you bring me the powers of this crow or of the crow or whatever the hell you wanted to call him. Like bring me the powers of this being and you'll have immortality forever and your debt is cleared. Like then that's like, okay, there's the incentive for him to like go after the crow.
Yeah.
It's just bad. Bad writing. It is bad writing.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And that's why I'm putting it at 62. Some of the dial or the monologuing was outside of that, no. Like this could have been so much better written.
Yeah, dude. I'm on the same boat as you. 62. The only reason that it's not a 60 is because of that monologue.
All right, moving on over to acting. So starting off with this cast, we got Bill Skarsgård, who plays Eric, aka the Crow. We got FKA Twigs, who plays Shelley. We have Danny Huston, who plays Vincent Rogue. Josette Simon, who plays Sophia, or who is Shelley's mom. Laura Byrne, who plays Marion, who is the Rogue's henchwoman, I guess.
Yeah, right-hand woman.
Yeah, then we got Sammy Buajila, who plays Kronos, who is like the I guess the guide, the spirit guide to Eric.
Yeah.
All right, what's your top 3 look like?
Oh boy. So number 1, I got to get to Bill Skarsgård. I feel that he is trying to make this dialogue work. He's trying to make this movie work, and just unfortunately the odds are stacked against him.
Unfortunately,
because he's still a great actor. I still love him in everything that he does, but just this was not it. This was not his proudest moment.
Nope. Dude, it was close. That second half, dude. If the whole movie would have been more like the second half, this could have easily been a solid B- movie.
Personally, I wouldn't go that far. I think it'd like maybe like approach like the C+.
You think even keeping up with the pacing and everything?
Yeah.
Or do you think it?
So.
Okay, fair enough.
So like, but you know, like, that's awesome that it would shoot that high for you. But yeah, just
I think I'm taking into consideration. I think I'm taking into consideration all of like the possible rewrites that they would have had to do as well. But yeah, like if they would have improved on the relationship and given us a better antagonist and better motivations behind everything, I think it could have been up there with like a B- B movie.
One, and you know, this will, I guess, goes into costumes. I did not like his haircut in this movie. I think they could have given him a way better haircut, and it's not like and it's not like it's the style that Bill Skarsgård wears. Like that's not his normal haircut. So I don't know, just like that. It looked like a mullet, like a shitty mullet that he was going for, and it looks freaking stupid.
Oh, we are going to disagree on that because okay, the haircut, yeah, it's a little goofy, but I think once he's all suited up, I think it works.
All right, I'll give you a little bit of that.
Yeah, prior to him being suited up, I was like, odd choices, but okay.
All right, fair enough. So Bill Skarsgård number 1. Then I'll give number 2 to FK Twigs. I feel that she did a decent job. Like we talked about earlier, the love story was just so abrupt, and like they fell in love so fast. I'm like god damn, like this is like movie wise, and like even like in real world, that's a record for relationships I've seen take off. Like god damn.
At least in terms of commitment, like definitely.
Yeah.
Like few weeks and he already sold his soul.
But you know, I feel for her being mostly a musician and what she was given. I feel that she does do a good job, and I enjoyed her performance. For the most part, I did enjoy her performance. And then number 3, we're just going in order here. 2, 3. Number 3, I'd give to Danny Huston. Played Vincent Rogue, the bad guy. I do think it looked like he was having a good time playing this role. He definitely was. It definitely seemed like he was having fun being bad, and you know what? I appreciate that, and I love that for him. So even though the dialogue and the story was god awful for him, especially the dialogue, it was so canny. I did have somewhat of a good time watching his performance. So that is my top 3.
All right. My number 1's the same as yours, Bill Skarsgård. I don't think we need to say anything more on him. I think he did good with the material he was given. My number 2, surprisingly, is Sammy Buajila, who played Kronos.
That's fair. That's a good pick.
So the reason he's taking number 2, I really like the role that he had, kind of being like that gatekeeper. My only problem, his voice is a little too high for what I would imagine this character to be. Like his voice didn't quite line up with what I imagined him to sound like. Like though I think that they needed to do like more like of a godly effect.
Okay.
Like I think his voice needed to like have like some more reverb and just feel powerful. Like I feel like his voice needed to be heard throughout the entire like area that they were at. Like that's kind of what I was hoping that they were going to do. Like especially when he's like starting to yell at Eric. I was like, okay, we need like a thundering boom, and like that's kind of what I was hoping that we were going to get with him. I think that like with some like minor alteration to his voice, like that role would have been even better.
All right, fair enough. I mean, it didn't bother me, but I can understand why.
Yeah. Like, and I think it would have added some more gravitas to the scene where he's like, where Eric offers up his soul. He's like, my soul for her soul. And he like turns around and looks at her. And then it's just, that's where I think of like a thundering boom and just like, do you know what you're like offering, or do you know what you're sacrificing, like making that? And then it's like, yes. And then as like I don't know if he's like the previous Crow or if he's like now the gatekeeper, or like maybe they just like swapped roles or whatever. But I feel like that swap should have been a little bit more apparent. Like then his voice kind of gets like calmer and calmer until it's Bill Skarsgård's voice. That's like the thunderous booming voice. Like I think they could have played around with the voices a bit more.
Yeah, fair.
Like I
That's
said,
fair.
it didn't need much. It didn't need a whole lot. It just needed a little bit of an echo, a little bit of reverb, and a bit more bass to his voice, just to give it that like thundering tone. But I'm a big sucker for like that type of voice. So I mean that may be a personal bias like alteration, but I think it would have worked for that role. But yeah, my number 3 is going to be going to FKA Twigs. I thought she did really well with the material she was given. It's just pacing wise, the story messed with the characterization of her. Like that's the only issue that I had with her. Otherwise I felt her performance was really good, and I felt the heartbreak that she was going through when she woke up and saw Eric's body next to her, like, and how like difficult that like would have been to see. Like she portrayed that so well, and that's crazy for someone who's been in nothing but freaking music videos and like played Shy Girl in like some random ass movie like 5 years ago. Like freaking nuts. So freaking hats off to her for her performance in here. Like fantastic.
Yeah.
Considering the material.
Oh man.
Yeah. So where are you sitting with acting?
I don't really think I have like anything else to add to acting. So acting wise, I think I'll be at like a 75.
I am not too much far off from you. I'm at a 76.
Okay.
Yeah, they did good. It was just, unfortunately, I think the story affected how I viewed their performance.
100%.
All right, moving on over to character development. This was all over the place.
Oh yeah,
this was very sloppily put together.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Like this is just going solely off of Eric's character. But one, it was just, you couldn't keep track of like where he was, and it just like he was always in a state of being like unhinged, but he was in love too, so you kind of have to take that into consideration, and he kept that throughout. And even when he like, I guess, doubted his love, like, which that wasn't even it. It's like he wasn't doubting the love, he was doubting her, because like to any reasonable person, it would just look like some dude came and whispered in her ear, and then she went and stabbed her friend in the neck.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, cool. She was also like on drugs. Like, you think my first go-to is going to be like seeing video footage of this? Do you think my first go-to is going to be like, oh, well, that dude whispered incantation in her spell or in her ear, and the spell made her go and do that? I'm like, no, the freaking drugs made her go and do that.
Yeah.
So I think it is a little unfair of Kronos to be like, you doubt her. And I'm like, dude, there was video proof.
Do you blame him?
Yeah, video evidence, son. Like, you're just wanting me to like blindly follow this chick that I literally met this week?
Seriously.
Like, yeah, this is where I feel like the pre-established relationship would have helped a lot.
100%. Because like I would have loved seeing him, you know, like when that moment happens, like reflecting on, you know, how far they had come in their relationship. I guess like everything that he remembered good about her and what they mean to each other, and like that kind of stuff, like overpowering what he was seeing on screen because he knew her so well. He knew who she really was. Like, I mean, I would hope that, they would explain like the relationship has been going on for quite a while, so that because I like, don't get me wrong, like when a relationship, has been established for so long and then they, find out something that they didn't know about each other, and like that breaks them up or like makes them like really rethink. It's an interesting plot point, I will admit. But I feel in this sense, it really would have benefited to see him just replay that in his mind, be like, okay, I've known her for so long. We've been through so much together. This is what I'm seeing.
Yeah. Like, I think that would have been like, if I don't think you need to make the relationship that much more established. It just need to be more established in a freaking week.
Yeah.
Or
Seriously.
however long it was. It was too short of a time. Or if it was a long period of time, they needed to better establish that.
100%.
Like, show us that they've been in hiding for like a year. But it seems like they were always in that one apartment. So it's like, did they only go and check that place once?
Yeah.
Like, it didn't make sense. So like, it would have made more sense if they were like traveling and like going from place to place to place, and it's like, okay, we've been together for months or even years, and now we're like finally making our way back, and this person's still on the manhunt. And then that would have been interesting to see the decline of the pianist he had, because she was like a prodigy. Like, Shelley was the prodigy that he corrupted and turned into his own like little sick experiment. So it would have been interesting to see the innocent pianist that he had with him, basically the dark road that she would have gone down.
Damn, we missed out.
Dude, this movie was so lazily put together. Like, this is why people that aren't this is the problem with getting like just random ass people to work on movies. It's like, if you're not a fan of the material or don't know how to do it like really good justice, don't touch it.
Like, Caleb hasn't seen anything else from The Crow, and I feel he could put a way better story together.
Well, because the story is interesting. The story is wildly interesting. So it's just, it pisses me off when people like with things that have a cult following, like the Crow, and obviously something was right about they did something right with the original Crow, because you got like 4 or 5 other movies based off of it.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't, like, obviously like shitty like sequels and shit, but I'm assuming that's the cast is crazy, but I mean, come on. It's just, it's frustrating. It's frustrating when people don't take the source material into consideration, and I feel like I can tell that they didn't.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just Eric's characterization and his any development that he had felt so cheap, because it felt like a really quick, like, burning hot and bright or quick and bright candle. Like, it felt too much too soon.
Yes.
So this is one I'm fairly low to. I'm probably 67. 66. 67 felt too high.
Oh, yeah, man, dude. I feel you. Like, I've really nothing else to add. You like nailed it with how bad the character development was and how all over the place it was. So I'm just gonna be just a tad below you at a 65.
All right, next up we got effects. Probably the highlight of this movie.
Yes, the effects were pretty good.
Yeah, I will be docking for some of the really shitty looking crows.
Fair.
Like there were some that were pretty rough.
Yeah.
But the scene, like the gore in this was just ridiculous, dude. Like holy shit.
It's been a while since I've seen that many decapitated heads.
Dude, what about the freaking dude that he had up against the wall with the sword up to his mouth and then just like push forward? I was like,
yeah.
oh,
That
God.
was awesome.
Dude, this was rough. So, for those of you that haven't seen this and have chosen to listen to this anyway, the crow decides that he's going to go, or he just grabs like a freaking katana and he's like walking down the street and he like unsheathes this like tiny katana and just bushwhacks these people with this damn katana, and it is brutal. It is brutal. And it's like in an opera house too, so it just kind of has like it has an elegant vibe about it, but it's so cool, like because like he can't die or his body can't die, so it's crazy like watching him just freaking like slaughter these two people, and then he's like walking up the steps and then all these guards are just unloading on him, and so he's just like kind of like bouncing around and everything, and then he like falls to his knees, and then they come up on him and he just starts like slicing and dicing like it's his freaking job, and it's rough.
But like the best way possible.
Yeah. Dude, the ones that freaking kept getting me were the ones where he was going in at the shoulder.
Oh yeah.
And it would like cut down through the collarbone. I'm like, ah. Like, oh no.
I love when he walks out on the stage like towards the end of the movie and he just has two decapitated heads and just throws them into the audience.
That was one scene that I feel like I could have done without.
Really, I liked it.
It felt like, dude, I would have been the freaking dumbass in the stands being like, this is like one of those creepy ass plays. Like maybe this is part of it.
See, you'd be that. I'd be the kind of person that catches it and I'd just be like, I caught it. Like a kid in a baseball game.
Yeah, and then it's just like, oh, this is wet. Like, I don't think either of us would have believed that it was like a real decapitated head.
Like we'd have the reaction that do you remember in Seed of Chucky Jennifer Tilly has with the decapitated head?
No.
She like comes across Tony Gardner, who is like the guy behind like the Chucky animatronics. Like he plays himself in the movie and he gets decapitated by Chucky and Tiffany. But she walks in on his body and she picks it up and she's just like, oh my god, you look so real. And she's like, I think she like pretends kisses him and all this stuff, and then she like looks down and like sees all the blood and she drops and like freaks out. I'm just like, I would say like it took you that long to realize it was a real a real head, but at the same time she was in Hollywood, she was like in like the studio lot, all that shit. I get why it took her a minute.
Yeah, dude, like it just that makes me think of like the James Gunn interview where he was talking about the Chris Pratt prosthetic that they had made and everyone thought it was real.
Dude, like I don't blame them. Like that.
Yeah, I know, it freaking breathed.
That is just it's insane how accurate they can do shit like that. You know what one that like always like freaking like if you like look at it closely, like the smile is like freaking nightmare fuel. The freaking like huge replica they did of David Hasselhoff for the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. That shit, like his smile, if you're looking at it up super close, like I said, nightmare fuel. That shit is scary.
Dude, you know damn well the Hoff has that in his house somewhere.
Oh, he does. 100%. I think he tried to. I can't remember. I think he's either trying to sell it or has sold it already.
Oh man,
because he
dude.
doesn't want it lying around anymore. He doesn't like looking at himself.
Yeah, I don't freaking blame him. It's probably like he's probably not doing the proper maintenance on it, so it's probably like morphed. Like it probably doesn't look like him anymore, and it's probably scaring the shit out of him. But yeah, dude, I really liked, and I knew it was coming too. That one guard who was like picking at his teeth, and he like takes out a toothpick, and it's like like you see him putting the toothpick in, and then right as you see that, you see the freaking sword coming through his mouth, and
Oh
I'm like,
yeah.
oh.
Oh my god! I just pull it up, and I'm just like, ugh. Sorry.
But yeah, it's why it was wild what they were able to do, and the combat was so cool. Like it
Yes,
felt
I
like
agree.
it almost felt like unchoreographed in like the best way, where it was just like he was just fighting by like whatever the hell he could attempt to pull off,
Yeah.
and it was pretty nuts. It was pretty freaking nuts. Like those action sequences were the shit.
Yeah, the whole like final fight scene in that cathedral was freaking awesome. Like that almost okay. I'm not gonna say almost that it saved the movie a little bit for me, barely. But like that's like one redeeming thing I will say about this movie. It does have a cool action sequence with that moment.
Dude, it almost felt like there was like some Deadpool combat, like just rejects in that.
Dude, like yeah, like it reminded me a lot of the opening of Deadpool and Wolverine, and I was expecting Bye 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 to start playing.
Dude, there was some hardcore shit in that though. Like the dude who like came up behind him and stabbed him with his own sword, and he like grabs a gun and just pop 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 like through him. I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
And then like the one dude that he just grabs the dude's face and like pulls it into his chest, has the sword picking at or sticking at, or where was it coming out of? Was it coming out of his like neck or something?
I think so.
Yeah, but he like pulls the dude into it. They didn't shy away from like showing us that shit like at all. And
No, they did
I
not.
kind of expected them for it.
Yeah. Same.
Dude, like the one thing or the one that got me was the dude whose head freaking hit the stairs, and I was like, oh damn, like that was a little rough. And then he goes and stomps it. I'm like, ah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that whole freaking opera butcher sequence, I'm like, that's what the film, like, I feel like, like those scenes that you feel like a movie's been written around. Like that's the scene I felt like this movie was written around.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's probably what got Bill Skarsgård to do it in the first place.
Yeah. He's been doing like a lot of action stuff lately. Or at least I feel like he has. Like one of the Skarsgårds has. Yeah, he did Barbarian, Boy Kills World. Nosferatu. Oh, I didn't know he was in John Wick Chapter 4.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, he's done a decent amount of action stuff. But anyway, the effects were really freaking good. Like all of the freaking the opera house, the slaughter opera house was the bomb. Like super good effects and nothing that I had an issue with. Like it all looked really good. My only problems were the freaking occasional bad crow scenes.
Yeah. Yeah, I can agree.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I feel like those take do a pretty decent number on the movie because there are like so many of them.
Yeah.
So I am personally at like an 86 for the effects. I'm like, this is the highest category.
As much as I love that cathedral scene, I definitely agree that the crows definitely do bring down the effects. So I'm gonna be a couple points lower to an 82.
All right, fair enough. All right, moving on over to music. Wasn't bad.
Yeah, no, I've definitely heard worse.
Yeah. It's just very average soundtrack, unfortunately. Like it had a couple like okay songs, so like I think it's definitely worthy of like a 6.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Like it's not quite at like 5 level, but I couldn't think of anything to justify putting it at a 7.
You know, it would have been the perfect band to cover this movie. Simple Plan. Come on.
Yeah, not too much to say there.
Yeah, I got nothing else to add to that.
Yeah. Moving on over to costumes.
The trench coat looked pretty sick.
The trench coat was dope.
Badass.
I didn't hate the makeup either.
I did not either, and I'm honestly shocked that I didn't, because I will agree that when he actually is in the crow outfit, the hair is not that bad. It's like it does work. I will definitely agree with you there. It's just every other scene where he's not the crow.
When he's in like the rehab freaking sweatsuit, like
it's
I'm
like this looks freaking stupid.
Yeah, it looks goofy. But then like once he's wearing the trench coat, I'm like, all right, here we go. And
cool.
Shelly's outfits were really cool too. Like I really liked her like really long lacy gowns that she was wearing.
Yeah, those were cool.
Like those were like especially when she was in the water, dude. And like
yeah, oh my god, yeah, that scene when she's being taken down to hell, watching that and like watching her go down in slow motion, that was some cool stuff.
Yeah. I do feel like maybe they yanked her a little too hard, because it did feel like she was like very like almost folding in half.
Okay, yeah, you know what? You got a point there.
I'm like, I don't think you needed to yoink her that hard, but
it's one yeet.
Yeah, it's just like I remember seeing it like the second time, like in the movies when she's like because you see that scene multiple times throughout. And so when you see her getting like yoinked the second time, I noticed that it was very like fast. Yeah. And so I'm like, oh damn. Like that was kind of rough. But still, like in her like long flowy gown, it looked awesome.
It did.
Like and everything she was wearing was like super just like out there and vibrant. At least for this movie. So it was interesting. It was like really like an interesting look.
Yeah.
This one I've had a hard time with, because I don't know if his crow outfit saves it enough to be up at a 9, but I'm like at 8.5.
I'm sorry, I'm lower than you. I'm at a 7.
A 7?
Yeah.
Damn.
I'm
Okay.
sorry, man.
I'll give that one an 8 then. So like this will end up averaging out to a 7.
Okay.
But fair enough.
I'm sorry.
The crow outfit doesn't save it at all. Or is it
dude, honestly, if it weren't for the crow outfit, it'd be at a 5 or a 6.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah. Any other outfits out there were I mean, you had that opera that was going on.
Yeah, but even that wasn't like,
dude, I want to know. I want to legitimately know, do these rich people that attend the opera know what the hell's happening? Like, do they understand what's being like? Do they understand what's being sung, or do they have to do like just a ridiculous amount of research prior to attending it, so they don't seem like idiots? Like, oh, this is what the play's about, or this is what this opera is about. Like, I feel, I don't know. Maybe it's just my poor person talking, but
no, dude, same. I feel you there. Yeah, I don't know. That is actually a genuinely good question.
Yeah, like I don't know what freaking language is being sung when a freaking opera is happening. I want to assume it's Latin. Hold on,
Yeah.
let me see. What language do opera singers use? Italian, French, and German. I wasn't even close.
Oh man.
Italian, German, or French. Okay, so those don't seem like they're too out there of languages to learn.
Okay.
Still a little douchey though.
Yeah.
Like, I understand more like the idea of going to a ballet or going to a play, but an opera, like, especially if you don't speak the language, like what's your incentive to go to the freaking opera?
I mean, if someone offered me free tickets, I'm not going to turn them down because, like,
I wouldn't
feel,
either. Like, more out of sheer curiosity.
Yeah, I feel it's like something that you it's not on your bucket list, but it's like on your secret bucket list. You're just like, you know what? I want to at least experience one opera. I think
It's on my wouldn't say no list.
There we go. Yeah, I like
Like,
that.
if someone offered it up, like, it's like, yeah, wouldn't say no, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to spend my own money to go.
Uh,
All right. Last up, we got our own personal score, and I feel like you hated this movie a bit more. So you want to take this one first?
yeah, I would love to. So yeah, unfortunately, I just did not vibe with this movie. Like Caleb pointed out, once the second half hits, it does start to pick up a little bit, but even that just didn't save it for me. The cast does try. I feel that they really do try, especially Bill Skarsgård. Like, I feel bad that he had to be in this movie. But I'm glad that he has the It prequel or the Pennywise, or no, it's the Dairy prequel coming out soon. So at least, we get to see him be Pennywise again. So that's going to be awesome. But yeah, just did not love this movie. And I will say, like I said at the beginning of the episode, at least this movie got me interested in seeing the original. So I have to give it that. But just, yeah, I'm sorry. I just did not really like this movie at all. So personally, I, I'm sorry. Like in between here.
You've never struggled with
I haven't
score
like this,
as much as you have this one.
Yeah. Okay, you know what? I think I'm gonna go a 60. I think I'll go with 62. Oh. Just, yeah, I'm sorry. Just did not like I said many times, just did not vibe with this movie. Did not it had some parts that were like somewhat enjoyable, but not enough to save it. And I do not see myself watching this movie ever again.
I'm on the same page as you. I think I might have enjoyed it a little bit more just because I feel like the concept is there. Like, the concept was there. It was just the execution was just so piss poor. It ruined the vibe.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting at a 66. This is one I feel like I have the potential to possibly watch again. Probably not, if I'm being like real honest with myself. But if I go and rewatch the original, which I do plan on doing eventually, it's probably going to be one that I re-explore just to like do a proper comparison between this one and the OG.
Fair enough.
But the action sequences were enough to like sway me towards going a bit higher. I enjoyed that, and like I said, I think having that moment where I stepped away and came back and kind of like almost forgave the movie of its previous transgressions. Like I may have looked on it a little bit more favorably than I would have otherwise.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that usually happens with me where if I come back, I'm like, okay, I accept this movie for what it is, and I go into it being like accepting its flaws, and then I look on it a little bit more favorably. So I think I kind of did that with half the movie. Like with the shitty half, and then I was like, okay, I know what this is, and now I've come to accept it. And so yeah, it's one that if I do come back to it, it's going to be for research purposes only.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, so 66 seems high. 64 feels a little bit better, so I'm going to go 64.
Fair.
Oh man, it felt funky. It felt a little funky.
100%.
All right, going through these scores real quick. Starting off with story, we ended up averaging out to a 65. Writing is sitting at a 62, so not a great start.
No.
Acting got a little bit of a bump, sitting at a 75.5. The character development is sitting at a 65.5. So kind of took a bit of a dive there. The characterizations are important, and this one was not done well. The effects are the high point of this movie, sitting at an 84. The music was average, but there were some original items in there that made it a little interesting to listen to. So we ended up giving that a 6 out of 10. The costumes, unfortunately for us, is sitting at a 7 out of 10. I feel it deserves a little bit higher, but can't really argue.
Man.
And then our personal score ended up averaging out to a 63.
Okay.
So with that, the final All Bros letter grade for The Crow has come out to a C-.
Damn.
Dude, that is solely because of effects. I freaking bet you.
I was expecting it to hit in the D's.
I was expecting that too. Let's see how close it was. Really freaking close. Oh damn. So this is so our cutoff for a D plus is 70%. So 70% is a C-. Anything less than 70 is D plus. This ended up getting a 71.25.
Damn. Okay, yeah, that was right on the edge.
Yeah, it was pretty close. This is wild, dude. Oh my gosh, I don't know what I want to do first.
I love those kind of episodes.
Yeah.
Or those kind of rankings.
Okay, let's go what it's above first. I feel like that's a little bit more interesting. So this is sitting above Madam Web.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
It is above Cats.
Fair.
Dude, these are like, funny enough, these are both movies where there is one category that's really good, or that's usually good.
Cats and Crow, or Madam Web and the Crow?
Like talking like The Crow, like all of the C- movies. There's always seems to be like at least one thing about it that was good.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
At least one category. Like with The Crow, it was the special effects. With Madam Web, I would. What did we say that one was? Probably effects too.
Yeah.
Or costumes.
It was probably
Maybe.
costumes, if I had to think.
Yeah, it was probably like a mix between effects and costumes that brought it up.
Yeah.
And then Cats, freaking 10 out of 10 soundtrack.
Oh yeah,
like
absolutely.
There's always that one thing about like C- movies that's really good.
Yeah.
All right. And then getting into the D plus range, that it is sitting above Charlie's Angels, the 2019 version.
Yeah.
It is above Justice League.
Yep.
Uh,
Well, okay. When it comes to like, okay, Justice League sucks, but at least I actually enjoyed that movie. I'm sorry.
fair enough. I think that was one where we had. Did we have a? Oh no, we had. That was Justice League was one that we had outsider input on.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of
Dude,
people
both
hated
Justice League movies got done dirty. What the hell?
it. I know. So Justice League. Though I think those might be two that we need to like come back to, because
Dude,
those I
especially
feel like
Zack
those.
Snyder's.
Yeah, Justice League. I feel like that's at least a C minus.
Yeah. But freaking, because isn't Zack Snyder's also in the C or is in the C?
Yes, it's
Yeah,
a C
Zack
minus.
Snyder's
I
is like,
skipped over that one because I was like I didn't want to like. I knew that we were going to like re-explore. That might be one when we have like a gap. Might be a
dude,
good
I'm down because
filler.
I feel that will, not predicting anything, but I feel that's gonna land in like the B category.
Zack Snyder's.
Yeah.
I'd be leaning more towards C plus max.
Damn, really? Damn. I'm at like a B.
I would
like
be down to rewatch it.
Yeah. I'm at like probably like a solid B, maybe. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we may have space for that, depending like what. So our next episode, spoiler alert, is Beetlejuice. So we have a gap between Beetlejuice and Transformers 1. So we could fill that with the Justice League. Like unless there's like
now.
Yeah, unless there's like some other one that we want to look at.
Like if we can't think of anything, should we do Zack Snyder's Justice League?
We should just do both the Justice Leagues.
All right, I'm down.
Like try to do it at the same time.
Okay. Yeah, okay, I'm in.
Okay, cool. All right, going the opposite direction with the Crow. It is sitting below the Star Wars The Last Jedi.
Okay.
It is below Rebel Moon.
I think I would disagree with that because at least the Crow's watchable.
Here's the freaking kicker. It's below Borderlands.
I am actually okay with that.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm okay that it's below Borderlands because, I was thinking about this when I walked out of the movie. I'm just like, Borderlands was bad, but at least I can't even though I said that, like it was bad and Madam Web was laughably bad, I will say I still had a little bit of fun, like barely any, but a little bit of fun with Borderlands. The Crow, I left being like, okay, that was, yeah, that was a movie. That was definitely a movie.
Okay. All right. It is also below Morbius and X-Men Dark Phoenix.
Okay.
But yeah, that's where it's sitting. And not including the two Justice League movies, I think it has a decent home.
I agree. Most definitely.
Yeah. That's yeah, we'll have to re-explore those Justice League ones because that, yeah, seeing Zack Snyder's down so low does hurt the soul a little bit.
It, dude, freaking, especially when you think of like the amazing, like certain amazing moments in that movie. Like biggest one that comes to mind is freaking Barry breaking the Speed Force. Like that, I wish that Warner Brothers would have allowed. Like, I get why they put it on HBO Max, and I'm fine with that when it first came out. But I think that they should have had a limited run in theaters because I would have loved to see that scene on the big screen.
Yeah, that would have been really cool. But can you really freaking allot 4 hours?
I mean,
to one movie.
I mean, give me a bathroom break every hour. I could do it.
The one thing we'll get into it. We'll get into it eventually. I could go on for hours about that damn movie. But yeah. So if we do rescore that, we'll be losing a D+ movie.
I'm okay with that.
And we'll only have 3.
What are the other D pluses? I forgot.
Charlie's Angels,
Okay.
Doolittle, and Capone.
I forgot that we scored Capone that low. God damn.
Dude, the movie sucked.
Yeah, that movie was rough to get through. Doolittle was just so bad. Oh my god.
Dude, I rewatched it because Iris wanted to. It does not hold up.
I mean, it never held up to begin with.
I know it didn't like it. Like I just thought, like, okay, I've already ripped it a new one. Like maybe I'll look on it a little bit more favorably or with more forgiving eyes. No, not even a little bit.
See, I would have when I thought about rewatching that, I would have been like, no, let's just go watch the Eddie Murphy one.
Yeah. That's probably what I should have done, but she saw the animals and she was very insistent. I want to watch the animals.
I mean, but
this dude talks to animals too.
I was gonna say, but Iris, there's animals in this way better version.
Yeah. Oh man. But anyway, so that is where the Crow is sitting.
All right. I'm sorry that one of your. I feel that this was one of your like more so anticipated movies of this year.
This is a classic case of the trailer being better than the movie.
I'm sorry, man, that you left disappointed.
No, it happens. Like you can't win them all.
Yeah, I was the same way with Tarot, so I get it.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you liked this episode, want to check out more of our stuff, be sure to follow and subscribe to us wherever you listen to podcasts. We are damn near everywhere. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, all at the All Bros. And we did find out on YouTube, you do have to search at the All Bros.
Yeah.
For who knows what reason. There's another freaking channel that's just All Bros, and I'm like, dude, what? So yeah, you have to search at the All Bros to find our shit, unfortunately.
Lame.
But yeah. Let's see what else. You can also check out our website, tinyurl.com/the All Bros. And you can find links to everything that we do through there. And yeah. So be sure to tune in next week. Where we will be breaking down Beetlejuice.
Oh yeah. So freaking excited.
Yeah, very excited for that one. And I'm gonna have a little bit of homework watching the first one.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, I'm interested to see your opinion if we're on the same page here.
Yeah. So you guys can look forward to that next week. Until then, this has been the All Bros Podcast. I'm Caleb.
And I'm Jonathan.
And we'll catch you guys next week. Deuces.
See ya.